The other part is also to say, how has this company fared quite recently? And I think the story is very, very positive for the company. In 2023, the result shows that the company had performed pretty well. Revenue grew from about 66 billion naira to about 221 billion naira. Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to Finance Boulevard. Good to have you, and thank you so much for joining me on this conversation this afternoon. This afternoon, I felt I should say a few things about one of the biggest news that's coming out of Nigeria today. If you follow the Nigerian stock market, you would have heard that a company that was hitherto listed on the NASD OTC is now being listed by introduction to the main board of the Nigerian Exchange Group, which is the Nigerian Stock Exchange. It's a good news for the country generally. But let's try to talk about this company. The company is called Aradel Holdings Plc. The company plays within the oil and gas space. It's got a number of marginal fields. Think about 4 marginal fields. It's also involved in the production of gas in the Nigerian market, and and then it has a refinery. So generally, the company sells crude and also refines as well as gas. Now that means that it has a mix of income or mix of revenue from particularly from a currency perspective. So it actually earns both the local currency, which is the naira, as well as USD from the sale of crude and other allied products, which kind of provides some level of hedge for those who are very much worried about or who are concerned around the FX risk of Nigeria. So if you have a company that is selling crude, which basically is priced in the USD from their from which is priced in USD, you surely know that to a large extent you've got some natural hedge for yourself. So that's one part. The other part is also to say, how has this company fared quite recently? And I think the story is very, very positive for the company. In 2023, the result shows that the company had performed pretty well. Revenue grew from about 66 billion naira to about 221 billion naira. That's over 200% growth from 66 to 221 billion. That's huge, right? And you would think, oh, that was just a fluke. Maybe it just happened once, and can that happen again? Well, the good news is that in 2022, the same story is also in 2024, by the way, not 2022. In 2024, the same news is actually being repeated. In fact, the funny thing is, even the bigger news is that in H1 2024, which is the 6 months to June 2024, the company's revenue has eclipsed what it did in 2023. So revenue has grown to 268 billion, right? I remember I did 221 billion in 12 months of 2023. In 6 months of 2024, it's actually revenue has grown to 268 billion naira. And the question is it just revenue that is growing? Are the other things that we need to know? Well, a few things that maybe before we get to that point, we need to ask ourselves what's really driving the revenue, and a few things. One is that there has been huge sale of crude. The company has mentioned that they've been selling. I mean, they've had some increase in their crude production as well as sale, and part of the reason is because of the most recent acquisition of some marginal fields. I think they bought 2 marginal fields in the last probably about 3-4 months. They also acquired SPDC, some SPDC licenses or assets, which kind of had boosts to their production capabilities. So effectively, the growth is coming from sale of both crude or unrefined as well as refined products. So as their production capacity or crude production capacity increases, they are having more to sell in terms of crude as well as having more to refine. And then there's also been growth in their gas production as well as gas sale. So generally, that has been very positive for the company, which is good news for investors who are taking advantage of this company. I don't know if I've mentioned, but the company is being listed or is being introduced or listed via an introduction. And generally, it's coming to the market at about 702 naira to a share, which some people think it's pretty, it's not costly. Some people think it's reasonable. But maybe as we go over some of the numbers, we'll try to make sense whether it's what you think about it. One important number for me is the company's gross profits or the gross margin. I mean, so the question is, what's the gross margin looking like? The gross margin has been very pretty nice. From the last time I checked, it was about over 60%. So in 2024, in H2 24, the gross margin still remains at around 60%, which is pretty nice, right? 60% it's a very is a very nice place to be, for a company. Not a bad place. And I think they've maintained that. I think the previous period they were around 58% or to 60%. So yeah, that they've actually continued to maintain their margin, which is very good for the business. Now, other matters you need to be aware of is that operating profit is about 56% as at H2 as at H1 24, which is also very nice. EBITDA is very strong. EBITDA is about 189.7 billion naira, which is about 70.7% EBITDA margin. Huge. H1 24, the company has been like firing on all cylinders. So it's really some kind of indicator of what you should expect by the end of the financial year. Profit has also been on the uptick. I think in 2023, the profit was somewhere around 58 billion, I suppose. And then, as I speak to you now, in H1 2024, the profit is over 100 billion. So in 6 months again, they've actually outdone what they did in FY 2023. So like there are many reasons to say, hey, this company is doing something and needs to be paid attention, needs to be paid to it, right? I know you may be wondering, okay, what does the EPS, which is the earning per share, which is if you take the profit and say, hey, let us split it across all of the shares that this company had issued, what does it look like? In 2023, the EPS was around 247 naira per share. 247 naira per share. I don't know if you heard me right. Yes, 247 naira per share. And then as the days went by, in 2024, in H1 24, the 6 months to June 2024, the company said that their EPS is now 480 naira per share for the 6 months, by the way. So, like 480 for the 6 months, which is huge, from 247 in 2023, in full year 23, to 480 in 6 months 24. In fact, to give you what it looks like, if you look at the company's EPS in June 2023, it was just about 60 naira. 60 naira has moved to 480 naira. That is multiple times. 6 times 8 is 48, right? So it means that EPS has grown by a whopping 800% over, had increased by almost 700 to 800% over the last period on period, over the last 6 months. So compare the current 6 months of 2024 to the first 6 months of 2023. EPS has actually grown massively from 60 naira per share to about 480 naira per share. Now, 6 months to 2024, the company has actually even done better than the full year 2023, where it had 247. You may say, hey, but it looks like PE ratio, which is a price earnings, where you take the price of the shares and divide by the earnings per share, the EPS, and you get a number. which you can interpret to mean maybe how cheap or how costly the business is, or how long it's going to take you to recover if the company's continued run rate remains just flat as it is right now. You may say, hey, is it somewhere around 3? Well, something happened quite recently. So in September, the company had a share split or stock split, where they did a 20 for 1, right? Meaning that for every one stock you have, they give you additional 19. So which led to some level of dilution, So in effect, that means that EPS has been diluted to some extent, right? Using the current, the most recent information in the market. So the question is, what does the EPS look like right now? So I did a quick calc to say, okay, if you look at the last 12 months, from June 23 down to June 24, what does EPS look like? And EPS is saying that it's somewhere around 33 naira, right? 33 naira per share. Now, at 33 naira per share, what that means is that the price earning is somewhere around 21 times. 21 times. Now, but think about it again. What if you had said, hey, what if this company is able to replicate what it has done in the last 6 months, and what will be the PE or the EPS first and foremost? So, if, for instance, it just does exactly the same thing it did in FY22, in H124, EPS will be somewhere around 48 naira per share, 48 naira per share, and it's going to the market at 702. So 702, if you divide it by 48, you'll be getting somewhere around 14.6. So it's kind of a company that probably is trading at very, very, at a range of somewhere around probably 12 to 20, PE. The question is it costly or is it cheap? Well, you always look at this against other players in the market. I spoke to a friend earlier today, or I had a chat with a friend earlier today, and the person told me that one of the key competitors, or one of major players in that market, is Seplat, which the person said Seplat has about 55 PE. Now, imagine that this company starts trading at somewhere around 30 or 40 PE, right? And you bought at 702 or even 800. That's going to be massive for you. But anyways, as you would know, this is not an investment advice. I'm just sharing with you some of the things I've got to get to know about this company quite recently. So if you're looking at investing, please don't forget to check with your accountant or your finance person or your stockbroker, whoever advises you on your financial decisions, and the person can run you through and see if this is what you should consider. I just think that it's a big one for the market. It's a big win for Nigerian market generally. In fact, on a conversation with another friend, the person was already telling me that the company was 10% up this today only, which is the maximum single day increase that a company can have in the Nigerian stock market. So that's huge, really, right? So yeah. Does it sound interesting? Well, yeah. So Aradel is here. It's now a company that you can easily buy in the markets, and hopefully there will be more free float. I'm not sure what the free float looks like at the moment. Probably at the end of the day, we can try to figure out what it looks like. But it's a big win for the market. I think it's a company that's hopefully will continue to do well, continue to deliver good value. It's also a good dividend paying stock, by the way. So for example, in 2023, it paid 170 naira per share. So 170 divided by 247 is about almost 70% payout ratio. That's huge, right? Dividend payout ratio of about 170 of almost 70%. It's not a child's play. That's big for any company. But also it tells a story around what they want to do with cash. I think the company appears to be very, very cash heavy, right? It makes a lot of money, right? Huge free cash flow, huge operating cash flow. Operating cash flow is about, in H1 2024, operating cash flow is somewhere around 165 billion naira. Remember, revenue was 268 billion and operating cash flow is 165 billion. Now think about it. It's actually something worth considering. And free cash flow, from what I see here, is about 116 billion. Now, these numbers I'm calling right now are actually just for 6 months. 116 billion free cash flow on a revenue of 268 billion naira, 162 billion, 165 billion operating cash flow on a revenue of 268 billion naira. That is big, right? That's very, very big. Now it actually shows that a company can continue. I mean, to the extent they continue to operate at certain levels, there's huge value they're going to be delivering to investors if who decide to take advantage of the opportunity they are offering. One other thing I think is also worth talking about is that in terms of how they are going to, maybe what the future looks for the company. Well, I think the future is not looking bad, right? And to the extent that they continue to perform as much as they're doing right now, I think huge value. People are gonna unlock huge value from the acquisitions. Well, not so much to talk about this afternoon, but I think this is just something interesting to share with you. So if you are interested, don't forget this is not an investment advice, but if you're interested, speak to your accountant, your stockbroker, and to help you maybe share additional information about this company. But again, you can actually do a few DD for yourself, like some kind of a high level analysis, or look at some numbers and see if that makes sense for you. I've heard some people who say, hey, it's cheap, others say it's costly, but it all depends on your investment philosophy, what exactly you want to buy. If you consider the company against other players in the markets, or their peers, what does it say? Yeah, all right, guys, take care. Thank you so much.